Garden season is in full swing, and as you can tell, I already have a counter full of zucchini and squash, and I have a couple cucumbers over here, but we're not going to do anything with those today. And my method of what in the world am I going to do with this is a preserve as you go method. I could easily say, oh my goodness, I have way too much of this, and package it up and give it to friends, but the whole reason for me growing my garden is to feed my family. We're lucky here in Florida that we have pretty much 2 seasons of growing. We have the winter season where you grow your cool crops, and then we have the summer season where you grow all of your summer vegetables. So we pretty much have some type of produce in season year round. I still like to go through and preserve food so that way when we're in those transition periods between one season to the next, we still have stuff that we grew to eat. My goal in growing a garden isn't just to grow produce and to give it away. My goal is to always feed my family and hopefully cut down on what we buy at the grocery store. There are several methods that I use to preserve what I am growing in my garden, and one of those is going to be blanching and freezing. Another is canning, and then of course just cooking it as I harvest it. So we've actually eaten some of this fresh. This has just been harvested in the last, I'd say 7 days. I think I started harvesting on Thursday, to tell you the truth. So the last few days, we've already eaten some of this fresh. Since I know that there are some smaller fruits in my garden that I'm going to be harvesting, we're going to go ahead and preserve what I have here on the counter today. I'm actually going to shred some of the zucchini and some carrots that I have in the fridge. That way we can make some zucchini carrot bars, which are amazing. And then I'm just going to slice the rest of this, blanch it, and then freeze it so that I can have it in the freezer for when the off months roll around. So the first thing I'm actually going to do is I'm going to get a pot of water boiling so that while the stove preheats and I start on the zucchini carrot bars, this can start boiling. So while that pot of water starts boiling, I'm just going to go ahead and shred the zucchini for the zucchini carrot bars and slice up the zucchini that I'm going to then blanch and freeze. If I can find my knife. This odd shaped one I'm going to use for the zucchini, and probably this big one as well. Zucchini carrot bars. This we're going to just slice and freeze. I don't do it in very large chunks. Some people quarter it. I'm just going to cut mine in slices. Now, a lot of people will say, oh my goodness, does that make it mushy? Yes, freezing it does change the texture, but to me it's no different of a texture than if you were to put it in a pan and fry it and cook it down anyway. This one, I thought I had washed them all, but that one doesn't look like I washed it. And I'm just cutting them on this pan so that I don't have multiple things to wash when I get done. Zucchini. Actually, I have these goldens that I'll chop, and I'll just keep them separate. I'm trying to decide what to do. Do I keep them separate by kind? That's what I'll do. I'll keep them separate by kind. I'm just going to shred the zucchini for the zucchini carrot bars. I know a lot of people have the new electric shredders and things, but when you're only like doing a cup, this is so much easier. I just use the old-fashioned shredder. I actually got this one from my grandma. She had like extras, and she was like, hey, does anybody need this? And I was like, sure, I'll take it. Because all I had was, my other one was way worse than this. I'm just going to use these ends so that I'm not wasting them. That actually looks like that is a cup. I do believe. Yeah. And that was fast. I knew that little zucchini that was misshapen would come in handy. And I'm just going to save the ends and give them to my chickens. Okay, so now I have this extra one. And I'm going to slice as well and preserve. And I'm saving some of them out tonight so that we can eat those for dinner. Okay, I'm going to peel my carrots. I know a lot of people say to leave the peels on, but I find the peels to be bitter. I do not like the way that they taste. My kitchen, my rules. Okay, see, we needed a cup of zucchini and a cup and a half of carrots. I think I have a little bit more than a cup of zucchini, so if I don't get a full cup and a half of carrots, I'm just going to use the 3 that I have. And then it is what it is. I'm sure somebody's going to post that I'm scaring them with this chopper. I have the big one that goes on the KitchenAid, but it's just such a pain. Like, it gets clogged. I'm just going to take this little piece to eat. That's going to be enough. So it looks like about 3 cups. So that's actually more than enough. So my water has started to boil. So what you're going to do is you're literally just going to take your slices and dunk them in here. I just do it for a few seconds. Once I get everything in, I just kind of watch it for a few seconds and then dip it right back out. You're just doing this to kill the enzymes that when you would freeze would make it taste unpleasant. I don't blanch the shredded zucchini because I feel like you're putting it into a recipe and you're not going to really be able to taste it. I have this crazy slotted spoon. I don't know what it's for, but I use it for everything. When I fry food, when I blanch food, I love it. It's my favorite. It's my go-to utensil. Sure, it's cheap. It's Chef's Mark, wherever that would be from. And I actually think my husband had it when I came along, so there's no telling where it actually came from. Like I said, I just do this for a few seconds because you really don't want to start cooking the zucchini. And then I dip them out. And I put them on a towel to rest. That way the excess moisture is soaked out of them before you go to put them in the freezer. I put them on a single layer. And this is typically how my kitchen is. It's chaotic. I'm always doing like 3 and 4 things at one time. One of my favorite quotes was that, I think I may have already said this, homestead kitchens are messy kitchens because we're constantly preserving, trying to cook all of the food that our family eats. What was it? Whoa, run away. Okay, I'll feed that to the chickens. And this is why it's important to get them cut like close to the same size, is because you don't want one to like overcook. Okay, I got too many for a single layer, so I'm going to have to do like a double-ish layer. Since my pan is already full, I'm just going to kind of do this chaotically. Maybe I should have named this the Chaotic Homestead, ADHD Homestead or something. That hit my leg. Most people probably would have got out a cutting board. Cut this one up and then pull these and then cut the next few. I hate cutting boards because it just is like this extra dish that I have to wash. And who wants to wash more dishes than they have to? Okay. Just a few seconds. And then we're going to pull them out. This one grew all weird. That's the thing about growing your own vegetables is you're used to, like, especially if you're used to buying them in a grocery store, is because they're not going to all be the perfect shape that makes it to the shelf. So you're getting everything. Occasionally you get those wonky shaped ones. Like I said, these ends won't go to waste. Some of them will go to compost. I don't really like composting squash because of the seeds, because then the next year you have tons of squash plants popping up in your compost. So I usually just feed the squash to the chickens. Again, just a few seconds and then we'll pull them out. I'm actually going to save all of this for our dinner for the next few days because I don't think there's any squash in the garden that'll be ready in the next couple of days. So I'm just going to stack it all right here. And then, like I said, when I get a few more cucumbers, we'll process these. Just let those cool while we get our carrot zucchini bars going. All right, so it's 1.5 cups of flour. Yeah, I make messes when I bake. My husband always makes fun of me. Okay. So 1 teaspoon of baking powder. 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger. 1/4 teaspoon baking soda. And get the lid back on the ginger. 2 eggs. And I normally crack these into something else just to make sure. The carrots and the zucchini. I'm actually going to turn this off and lift it to put these in. Three-quarters cup brown sugar. Half a cup of raisins. I'm just going to eyeball this. Looks good to me. Just the rest that's in the package. And then 1/2 cup of chopped walnuts, but I'm using pecans because that's what I have. 1/2 cup of cooking oil. And a 1/4 cup of honey. I'm actually just going to eyeball this. 1 teaspoon vanilla. I'm just going to eyeball this again. Preheated to 350. I'm going to put this in a ungreased 13 by 9 by 2 pan. Do I know if this is a 13 by 9 by 2 pan? No, I do not, but it looks like a good one to use to me. The oven is preheated to 350, so we're going to cook this for 25 minutes. While that cooks, I'm going to finish getting my squash ready for the freezer. So they've all pretty much cooled off now. Just layer them out in a single layer. And what we're going to do is we're going to put these in the freezer until they are frozen solid, and then we'll come back and I will vacuum seal them into their vacuum seal bags. Then I just put another layer of parchment paper and layer it like this so that there's multiple layers when it goes into, and they don't stick together when I put them in the freezer. So then I just take this and I set it in the freezer. Hopefully it'll close. And it usually takes about an hour, hour and a half for them to completely freeze through. So we'll come back in an hour and a half and I'll show you how I package them up. So the zucchini bars are all done. Zucchini carrot bars are all done. I'm going to pull these out of the oven and let them cool while I go pick up the kids from school. And the zucchini should be done freezing by then. These will be cooled off. So when I get back, we'll put a layer of cream cheese icing on these, and I'll finish showing you how I bag up the zucchini for the freezer. So I'm back from picking up my kids from school, and the carrot cake has cooled. So we are going to make the cream cheese icing, and it's just a block of 8-ounce cream cheese and a cup of powdered sugar. Again, I don't measure anything. Again, like I said, we're just going to guess. Looks like a cup of sugar. You can put a little bit of lemon juice if you want so that it's not so sweet, or you can flavor it with vanilla. I'm just going to use cream cheese and powdered sugar to keep it basic. Ta-da! And I'm not going to show you all it's sliced because we're going to save it for after dinner tonight. All right, now that we are done with the zucchini cake, we are going to go ahead and package up our zucchini that we blanched earlier and squash. And I just use WeVac vacuum seal bags. I get these from Amazon. They seem to be the best price. And then I have a cheap vacuum sealer that actually had horrible reviews on Amazon, but it's been fantastic for me. And I looked back a few weeks ago because somebody asked me which one that I had, and it's actually not even available on Amazon anymore. The frozen pieces, and I put them in a double layer in each bag. And that should be enough for my husband and our oldest, because our younger two don't eat squash. And since they were pre-frozen, they shouldn't stick together. But if you feel like yours might stick together, you can always put a wax layer between them. Baskets that I organize my freezer with, and I get them all from Hobby Lobby. And then these tags, I think everybody keeps asking me, but I think these tags, they're the kind you write on with a dry erase marker, and I'm pretty sure that I got them at the Dollar Tree. If not, then I got them off Amazon, and I'm sure both have them. but I'm almost positive I got them at the Dollar Tree. You kind of have to work fast with the zucchini as it starts to defrost, unfrost. I've gotten in trouble for saying unthaw before, so hopefully I said the right word. So even though it's just the beginning of garden season, I literally have been picking for 5 days. I have 5 squash that we can eat tonight and tomorrow. Of course, then the plants will probably have produced more, but I've already preserved enough squash for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 meals. So it's really easy to preserve food so that when the time comes and your garden is no longer producing squash, you have squash in your freezer that you can eat in the off season. So this is just the beginning, 5 days, 6.5 meals.